All my dear students of class 8, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was taking up the diseases caused by bacteria and virus. Today I'll discuss the exercise on page number 100 and move on with the rest of the chapter. Take the correct option. Pathogen enter the body through air and insects, food and water, and both of these or none of these. Yes, enter the body through both of these. Is that clear? Then, which of the following diseases does not spread through the air we breathe? It is mumps, common cold, tuberculosis, or cholera. It is cholera, which is caused by having contaminated food and water. Then, jaundice and cholera spread through contaminated food and water. Which of the following diseases is not caused by mosquitoes? Yes, it is hepatitis. Which of the following diseases caused by the sandfly? It is Kala Azar. The sandfly is the vector. Circle the odd one and name the category to which the other three belong: tuberculosis, cholera, typhoid, and mumps. I just done in the blank also that tuberculosis, typhoid, and mumps are, yes, they are bacterial diseases. What are they? Try to find out on your own now. It is tuberculosis, cholera, typhoid, and mumps. They are all bacterial diseases. Is that clear? That is tuberculosis and cholera and typhoid are all bacterial diseases, while mumps is a viral disease. It is caused by virus. Is that clear? Then malaria, teniasis, ascariasis, and filariasis, that is all the last three are caused by worms, and malaria is a vector borne disease caused by the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito. Then dengue, AIDS, tetanus, and rabies. AIDS, dengue, rabies, all are what? They are caused by virus, while tetanus is a bacterial disease. Is that clear? It is caused by the causal organism is Clostridium tetani. Then state whether the following statements are true or false. You please do this on your own. Let's proceed on with the chapter how to prevent diseases. And whatever seasonal fruits and vegetables are there, we should try consuming those fruits and vegetables. If it's summers, winters, or be it the rainy season, they have their own characteristic fruits and vegetables. So, all of you should eat them and eat regularly. We should eat properly cooked food, and we should not overcook, like after that we sauteed and we try to cook the food unless oil comes out. So, that is unhealthy practice. This reduces the nutritive value of food and overcooks the food. All the vitamins and minerals of the food are depleted. Before consuming the vegetables and fruits, we should cut them. We should wash them thoroughly before peeling and cutting, because after peeling and cutting, if we wash them, then that also decreases the amount of nutrient in them, and besides that, whatever dirt or whatever germs were attached to it might enter the fruits and vegetables. Then there are certain measures that we should take, or certain habits that we should get into, that in order to keep ourselves healthy, and those habits are known as personal hygiene. That is, we should take regular bath with a good soap, and before that you should remember that we should wash our hands before and after eating food and after visiting the toilet, and our hands should be washed thoroughly. So, here there are this is the way in which the hand should be washed thoroughly. Is that clear? So we should take bath regularly with a good soap, and just because it keeps the body clean and free from dirt and germs, and once our body is free from any dirt and germ, then we will be free of diseases. We should keep our nails trimmed and short, and wash eyes with cold water at least twice or thrice a day. So wazoo is a very good means of this. We are doing it 5 times a day. Clean the nose regularly by using a clean handkerchief. Do not reuse the handkerchief or tissue paper that you have used earlier. Clean your ears with earbuds after a bath, and brush your teeth twice a day. And we should not share personal things like combs, toothbrushes, towels with any other person. So in order to keep ourselves healthy, we should also keep in mind these things, that is, we should take food at regular times and not keep on binging every now and then, especially the junk food. And every time you step out of the house, you are in a habit of binging on, that is, eating some sort of junk food. So you should avoid doing that, and have at least 8 hours of sleep a day. Sleep and relax. Is that clear? So avoid too much of junk food, and mostly eat healthy food. Is that clear? Once in a while it's okay, but getting into a habit of eating junk food every now and then makes you sick. So eat healthy food and avoid too much of junk food. Then exercise regularly, and it helps to keep the muscles, heart and lungs healthy and active. So we should be at least, if you are not doing any exercise, you can indulge in brisk walking or play some game like badminton. Now, apart from keeping yourself clean, we also should keep our surroundings clean, and that should be done by proper disposal of human excreta and other domestic waste through proper sewage pipes in every colony. So there should be proper sanitation everywhere and proper means of disposal of human excreta. There should be proper disposal of garbage, and the garbage should be kept in covered dustbins, and there should not be a breeding ground for the mosquitoes and other insects. So do not allow water to stagnate in the locality. It will stop breeding of insects, and these insects, if the breeding is stopped, then of course the vector borne diseases can easily be prevented. Then moving on to immunization, first let's understand once again the term pathogen. I have told you that pathogen are disease causing organism or any living organism. It might be bacteria, virus, protozoa, which enters the body is a pathogen, which is capable of causing a disease is a pathogen. Is that clear? And once a pathogen enters a body, then in response to that pathogen, there are special proteins that are produced by the body, and the special proteins are known as antibodies. So these antibodies are specialized Y-shaped protein that bind like a lock and key, like each lock has its own key. Similarly, the antibodies are specialized Y-shaped proteins, and they function as lock and key to the body's foreign invaders, that is the pathogen, which can be of course bacteria, virus or fungi or protozoa or parasites. So they are the search battalion of the immune system, search and destroy system, search the pathogen and destroy them. So these antibodies attack the pathogen and kill them. So the ability of the body to kill pathogens and resist a disease is called as immunity. So it is the ability of the body to defend itself or to protect itself against disease causing organism or pathogen. and every day our body is in contact with several pathogens, but only a few result into disease just because of our immunity. That is, the body has the ability to release antibodies against these pathogens and protect the body against diseases, and this defense mechanism is called as immunity. Is it clear? This defense mechanism of the body, that is the ability of the body to kill pathogen and resist a disease, is called as immunity. Now, there are certain antibodies which are present in our body since birth, that is when we are born, since our birth, and they give immunity or they give resistance against certain diseases, but that is only for few months after birth. So, we need to acquire immunity. Is that clear? We need to acquire immunity, and we acquire immunity by immunization. Is that clear? So, what is immunization? So, immunization is a process by which individuals are made immune or resistant. Is that clear? That is, they have power to fight against various diseases. So, it is a process to increase host resistance, that is, we are the host to those pathogens or to those specific microorganism or a disease agent, and to prevent them from causing disease or provide protection from most of the infection, and that is indicated by the presence of antibody to that organism. So, this is done, or this is achieved by the technique called vaccination. Is that clear? This technique of achieving immunization is known as vaccination. All of you must be aware of the pulse polio. That is, the pulse polio immunization program was launched in India in 1995. And under this program, children in the age group of 0 to 5 years were administered polio drops every year. You must have also been administered. So, this program was very successful and no polio case have been reported in the country after 2012. So, this pulse polio immunization program was launched in 1995. Is that clear? And to an extent it has been quite successful. So, what is vaccination? So, immunity against a particular disease can be developed by vaccination. I have just told you what happens during vaccination. That is, dead or weakened microbes of a particular disease are introduced in a healthy body. That is, for instance, if it is the polio vaccine, then the dead or weakened microbes of polio are introduced in a healthy body. Is that clear? And scientifically, this practice is called prophylaxis, and the material that is introduced in the body is called a vaccine. Is it clear? It is called a vaccine. So, what is a vaccine? It is a small dose of dead or weakened disease causing microbe that do not cause disease but give immunity against a particular disease. Is it clear? It can be given in the form of injection or in the form of oral drops. So, how do these vaccines work? That is, when the weakened or inactive or dead pathogen enters the body through vaccination, which can be in the form of an injection or in the form of drops, they function as antigen. Is that clear? They function as antigens. And what are antigens? So, we have already discussed about antigen, that these are the proteins present on the surface of RBCs and they stimulate the production of antibodies in the blood. Is that clear? Stimulation of the production of antibodies in the blood is done by the antigens. Now, how do the vaccines work? That is what I am telling you, that when the weakened pathogen enter the body, and that is through vaccination done orally or through an injection, they function as antigen. When antigens have entered, that means they are going to stimulate the production of antibodies. So the healthy body fights and kills the antigens by producing suitable antibodies. So these antibody, they remain in the body. Is that clear? They remain in the body, and when the same pathogen enters the body, so when the same pathogen enter the body for the second time, these antibodies attack the pathogen and kills them. This is how the vaccine work. Is that clear? So these are the diseases which can be prevented by vaccination, that is cholera, tuberculosis, and many such diseases like diphtheria, pneumonia, measles, mumps. All of these can be prevented by immunization. So a vaccine can be either injected or it can be given orally. So here a vaccine is shown to be injected in the form of an injection, or it can be given in the form of vaccine drops to protect against several diseases. So a particular vaccine is given at a particular age, and this is known as a immunization schedule. So you all can ask your mother, all of your mothers must be having this schedule when you were young, when you were a small kid, such kind of immunization card, that what vaccine has to be given to you at what age. Then a vaccine is prepared by various methods, that is first through dead germs, that is dead pathogens are used in vaccines. Examples are TAB vaccine for typhoid, that is this is for typhoid, and the SALK SALK vaccine for polio, and vaccine for rabies have been prepared through dead germs. Then vaccines also prepared by using toxins, that is the toxins are what they are secreted by bacteria, that is the toxin secreted by bacteria, they are known as toxoids. So some vaccines are prepared with the help of these toxoids and they are used as vaccines. Is that clear? So formalin or formaldehyde is added to make the toxin harmless. How do they make the toxin harmless? Just because what do? That is, once they have been added to the vaccine, there are chances that whatever toxins or whatever pathogens are there, they might become active and cause the disease. So in order to prevent this, formalin is added to the vaccine. So but it retains the capacity to produce antibodies. The production of antibodies remains the same. An example of such vaccines are vaccine for diphtheria and tetanus. These are the vaccines which have been prepared from toxoids. Next type of vaccine, another way is through living weakened germs. That is, weak pathogens can cause, I beg your pardon, they cannot cause any disease. So they can be used for making vaccine. Examples are vaccine for measles and tuberculosis, that is the BCG vaccine. This is the vaccine which is prepared by using living weakened germs. Then apart from this, the fourth method is through the use of living germs, that is living pathogens are also used for the preparation of vaccine, and the vaccine for smallpox is an example of vaccine prepared through living germs. So there are 4 methods of production of vaccine, that is by using dead germs or through living weakened germs, through living germs and through toxoids. So these are the methods by which vaccines are prepared. Is it clear? So this is all for today. Allah Hafiz.